It started off when I and another friend were running a small import business for Japanese cars, which we used to buy at auction. There was one car we bought in, it was a 33 GTS, and it needed some parts, and went over to Abbey Motorsport, bought them, fitted them, and that's it, right at the beginning, and I believe that was 2002. When I got the track car, he was the obvious choice of person to start looking after it.
The car behind me is a 32 GTR that's been developed probably over, I think it's 12 years or something we've known Ted. He had retired from his job and wanted to do something. Started importing cars, and he turned up at Abbey with his 32 GTR that we slowly developed over the years from a car that you occasionally use onto the track to a car that behind me you see that's probably full-on race car really, but it's still got a tax disc in the window and it's still MOT'd and it's still road legal, but it's not a road car anymore.
As one does, one wants to make it better and better and better. And as the car gets better and you get better, it's just a never-ending progression. And I think what there is now is probably the ultimate track 32. Well, to me, the most important is it's got a handle and it's got a stop. To get between the corners, obviously the power has been increased as I can handle it, and we're now on not silly horsepower, because you don't need it on a track. We're running in the high 4s or low 5s, depending on conditions prevailing.
The performance comes from RB26, pair of twins, big pair of GTRSs on it from HKS. We don't need to worry about the shuffles because we're on a circuit. The Holinger 6-speed box helps that. Nitron triple adjustables, fully rose jointed suspension, Stop Tech brakes all round, Link Thunder engine management, flat shift, proper diffs, a lot of oil cooler work, a lot of stuff inside the car to try and make it as comfortable for the driver as possible. Motec dash, because we all like to look at data. Just a full-on car really, about 500 horsepower. Not the biggest horsepower car in the world, but it holds quite well. Car needs a good service before every event, oil and filter, bleed the brakes, check the transmission fluids. We change the transmission fluids probably every 2 or 3 track days. Tyre management, turning the tyres around, moving them. Hunter alignment all the time, making sure it's all pointing in the right direction. At the circuit, it's keeping an eye on the logs from the Link and stroke with the Motec dash. Filling it with fuel, just having a look around it, and you get the best job at the end, you get to drive it as well. I suppose the main thing, if it's a track car, is the spring rate and the quality of damper. 32 GTR doesn't need a huge spring. Think off the top of my head, I think it's on probably 1,000, 1,100 pound front springs, 600 pound rear springs. It's not big for a track car. When you get a car with some big springs on it, the brackets of being fast are very small. You've got to be super precise. The triple adjustable dampers, slow speed, high speed bump and rebound allows us to tune the roll of the car on the bump, so you can have a car that will light the curbs but not roll around. I've learned over the years, big bars are not always the best. Being a four-wheel drive car, it puts not a constant amount of torque to the front wheels, it's variable with the centre clutch. If you make the car too stiff on the front with the roll bar, it tries to lift the inside front wheel. If it lifts the inside front wheel, it loses grip. So we run without no front roll bar so that springs keep the front tyres on the floor. We run a fairly reasonably stiff rear bar to stop the car understeering. We run a lot of camber, 3 3/4, 4 degrees on the front, because the car rolls a little bit with the soft springs, 2 3/4 on the back, as much caster as we can on the front, so the car keeps the camber as you turn in, a little bit of toe out in the front to make the car pointy, and basically parallel on the back. You have to drive it with your right foot. The handling, the heat management, the main thing. Last year, spent a lot of time, or 2 years ago, we spent a lot of time with the radiator and the intercooler set up on it, power steering cooler on a Laminova in the bottom hose, engine oil cooler, transfer box cooler, rear diff cooler. It's all a package. It's not, you can't just put a 32 GTR on the track and think it's going to last forever. You run more time on full throttle on the track than you ever do on the road. I think when you look at logs from cars on the road, they might run full throttle for 20 seconds. Here at Alton, average lap 2 minutes, full throttle for 1 minute 30 seconds a lap. It's making some heat, and not just a little bit of throttle like planted. It's going to make some heat. Last year we moved forward with the Link ECU, coming away from the FCON, something a bit more modern, something for data logging, allows to keep an eye on the car with safety trips, etc., with oil pressure, fuel pressure, oil temp. We've also allowed us to use the flat shift on the gearbox, and that is a big way forward to use a Holinger to its full capabilities. Foot flat on the floor, pull the gear lever, no boost drop off, no nothing, instant boost, bang.
The relationship between myself and Mark grew from just being a customer to we became friends. We've got to the stage now where we're virtually partners on doing track days. He has a feel for it and could understand what in the car was, in his eyes, misbehaving and could be improved upon. And so we slowly worked our way up to the present iteration. Future developments, yeah, we think we're about the time to engine needs a rebuild, so we'll move forward 2.8 single, perhaps we'll throw a bit of E85 in it, and furthermore development. I suppose the car could always do with a bit more grip. Then I think we're going to get near the limit of the oiling system on the engine. The RB's always bad for oil surge. We pull 1.1, 1.2 G in the corners on the Dunlops. Perhaps it might have to have a little bit of work on the oil lubrication, perhaps an aqua sump controlled by the ECU, just to keep some oil in the sump on the big G corners. The logging allows us to keep an eye on it. We don't see a huge amount of surge. Around here we see a bit of a pressure drop around Cascades, and then a little bit of pressure drop round into Lodge, but we're all right, okay. And the wheel began.